Hi, friends. Welcome back. You are at the Self-Care Summit, and today is day number 5, where we are learning ways to cope in the midst of global crisis. Today, I have my friend Karen with me. Karen, can you say hi and introduce yourself, please?
Yes. Hi, my name is Karen Elias, and I'm a massage therapist from Hastings on Hudson, which is in Westchester, about 30 minutes north of New York City.
Wow. Okay, so you're pretty close to where a lot of the action in this COVID-19 crisis is happening. Is there any specific way that you personally are being impacted by it?
Well, I am staying out of New York City because I'm staying home.
Good
but,
idea.
but usually I would go into New York City, which means I don't want to drive because that's not the greatest way. I would take a train and subway, and that's really high exposure these days.
Yeah.
And I just talked to one of my friends yesterday who lives in New York City and says, we're still taking the subway because we have to get around this way.
Mm. Yeah, and it's so scary to think about that this virus is so communicable and it's spreading so fast, especially in New York State. I think the statistic that I saw today was 46,000. And by the time viewers actually watch this video, it could be higher than that. It's scary and it hits home. Like, this is in our home. It's in our backyard. You closer than me, but it is in our backyard. So, um, Karen, I just have to ask you, what are you doing to make sure that you're not living in fear or fear for your friends and your family that are close by too? What are you doing?
Well, I did watch the panic in the beginning, and I was a little surprised when it started because it actually started before we really talked about having cases here. And then I was thinking that I need to make sure I don't subscribe to this panic because it's really debilitating. And I don't want to live in this fear. So I was trying to get, first of all, facts about the virus. What is my risk? What can I do to protect myself? Which is, of course, my immune system, but that also emotionally, I am trying to really stay grounded. What I like to do is meditate, use the sound healing, my Tibetan singing bowls. I'm really trying to see, well, while I'm stuck at home, which it can, it didn't feel stuck right away, but after 2 weeks, it feels stuck. So I'm trying to see what can I do within this confinement. And probably like many others, I'm going online with as much as possible.
Yeah, that is the ultimate way to be connecting while we are seemingly stuck at home. I've had other people use that word too, like we're stuck, but we're actually in safety at home. That's the way that I'm trying to look at it these days, is that, the longer that I can stay at home and minimize my contact with other people, it's providing safety for me, but also for them, because even though I'm not experiencing very many symptoms, beyond the normal, like allergies and things like that, what could be a common cold even, I could be carrying the virus. So I have to keep other people safe as well. That was a whole big lineup of self-care items that you were doing. So could you just speak a little bit more on what self-care means to you and why it's important, especially now?
Right. So in general, I would say self-care, just to make it short, and maybe not so specific, is I need to feel supported physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
And that means different things for different people, of course. But I like dancing, which I can't really do with people right now, at least not, in person, but I can still do it in my living room. Sometimes, music comes on the radio and I'm like, I really need to move and shake. So yeah, nobody sees and it's okay. And you know what, actually in New York City, the dance teachers have started to teach lessons online.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so they, for them, it's also a matter of surviving, and then it helps us to connect. Well, I haven't done the dance classes online. I did some exercise online. I try to go outside whenever the sun shines. It just feels a little more normal. There are no people outside where I am. People are pretty good about staying home. And if we do meet each other, we do seem to spread as we're passing. And I do try to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
So because I feel, right now, as we let the fear take over, it might really keep us from developing something that could help us after.
Mm.
You know, it's not going to be the same. And I don't even know, I have actually had these discussions with people. What do we feel like our profession will be like when we come back after this? Because there will probably be a strong need for people to, receive touch again and relieve stress. But it's not clear what the financial situation will be of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that this is the time where I can ground myself, learn new things to be ready to address some of these challenges.
Yeah, what's on your learning list? What are you thinking about studying or bringing into your practice when we can get back to therapeutic touch?
Yeah, so what I've been doing right now is I started to offer meditations online, guided and also with the singing bowls. And I had, practiced sound healing and offered sound baths where people lie in a room while I'm in the same place and they hear the vibration and they feel them through the floor. So while I can't do this in person, I'm working on offering this, in a virtual form. So I splurged and I got myself a new laptop, which has better sound quality and video taking quality. So, that's what I can do now, because I think even afterwards, that will still be good
Mhm.
because I can reach people who are further away. So I'm
Yeah,
learning new technology, because as massage therapist, I haven't really paid too much attention to technology, only emails and some online things.
yeah, technology, it's the way of the new world, so to speak. And thank goodness for technology because that is the way that we're connecting with each other right now. Full disclosure, Karen and I just met 10 minutes ago, right before we started this interview, and there's already a connection established there because we do have technology capacity. I'm really grateful for that. I'm getting to know Karen as an amazing person already. So I'm grateful for it. And I have to say, I wouldn't consider that a splurge, Karen. I think it's a necessity, and it's definitely going to be a write-off, which we'll be looking for as well.
Yes, most definitely.
Business necessity. Absolutely. Absolutely. So there are lots of people that are in the healing arts community that are watching this, and there's also going to be people that are just at home wondering, what the heck can I do? I want to learn something new. What message would you have maybe for folks that don't know how to meditate, or folks that have no idea what a sound bath is, or how do they get started even getting in touch with their body maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think we sometimes forget that we have a great tool with us, which is the breath. We
Hmm.
have to breathe to live. And probably these days we might hold our breath more. So we can maybe just take a moment and say, right, let's just sit down, get comfortable, and just inhale and exhale. Just
Mhm.
noticing how that feels. And there are many people who offer online experiences with meditation now. You can also get books that help you to start,
Mhm.
you know. And I think it's also a good time to take some CE classes.
Oh yeah, there you
You
go.
know?
Yeah, just see what's available. And then I saw that Harvard was offering their happiness course free.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's the other benefit. Some of the classes are now free that used to have a fee attached.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that, coming back to the breath. We always have our breath until we don't anymore. And even just pausing and noticing where the breath goes into your body, to notice all of the tightness that might be underneath your collarbone or in your shoulders, and going, oh, I was holding there. It all begins with just awareness, right? And bringing breath into your body and then just letting it go again. Always coming back to that.
Yeah, and I would add to this because there are some of these meditation exercises using the breath and on the exhale a sound,
Mm.
different sounds. And if people, like to work with chakras, they connect to the different chakras, and they also help us to expand, because I feel this myself, some days I feel, okay, I'm fine here, I can do this. And then on some other days, I'm, oh my God, what's going on? This day is terrible.
Mhm.
So at that time, everything's contracting and pulling inside. And that's when I see no options. I only see the problems.
Mm.
So then when I go and breathe and maybe use some sound, which helps to release that tension, suddenly, you know, my mind is open and I expand and I can see, oh, well, there is something I can do. I'm not really powerless.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so I'm familiar with the root chakra, which is down at the very, very base of us near our pelvis. And that chakra happens to be all about survival and feeling safe. What is the sound that's associated with that folks could let out on their exhale?
Right. So and you know, the chakras are not the same in the different traditions. So Tibetan chakras are a little different. I use the singing bowls for the root chakra. It has a very deep sound, and also the color red, right? So you can also say things to yourself as you sit and breathing. You can assure yourself that you are safe. For example, you have a home,
Mm.
right? You can be in this home and you are safe, and you can feel the connection to the ground and accept the nurturing energy. And each of us has maybe different sounds that come out under stress. And I would just encourage people to exhale with sound. Just, you know,
Mm.
it might be ah or whatever the sound is, just to let go. And as you keep doing this, you will really feel your body releases.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm imagining myself doing a lion's roar, actually.
Yeah.
Roar. Sometimes, especially when I feel the physical sensations of maybe some fear, panic, or anxiety happening. Um, and my usual go-to methods, like putting some essential oils on or something like that, are not quite working in that moment. What a beautiful reminder to come back to just making some noise, getting that tension out through noise. That's beautiful. And I also heard you mentioned affirmations. Affirmations are great. We can convince our mind of a different story than what it's telling us in that moment by saying, I am, I am, I am. Do you want to talk more about that?
Well, so yes, and you know, because we're talking, I have all these associations. Before we had to stop working and things closed, I was also volunteering in prison as a facilitator for nonviolent conflict resolutions, and talking about what can you use when you have nothing. So breath was really good, and these affirmations to tell yourself, and look, where is my power? My power, you know, maybe somebody else is telling me what to do now. In prison, we're even, you know, they're even more confined than we are. They don't have any internet. So maybe we are now told you can't go, you know, do your work. You shouldn't go outside. You shouldn't hang out with people. So it might make us feel really powerless. But then I can say within this frame, and also, you know, to keep in mind, we know that this is going to end.
Yes.
Maybe not in 2 or 3 weeks, but it's going to end. You know, if we make it to the summer, things are going back. So we have that. And then just to see what can I do? What is it I like? It's okay. You know, this isn't spoiling ourselves if we say, I will do what I like right now.
I
You
agree
know,
with that.
because I need to stay sane and I need to stay positive and I need my energy.
Hmm. And you need the reminder that you are in control. You're not in control of outside circumstances, but you are in control of yourself. And that doesn't mean pile on, I have to create a new body by the time I'm able to leave my house, or I need to clean my entire house or organize, or there's no shoulds or coulds or any of that to feel powerful. It's just I am taking care of myself right now. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful. I noticed when you sent me your bio that you also are an aromatherapist. So, can you talk about maybe some different essential oils or different scents that could be helpful in a time like this?
Yes, aromatherapy actually has helped me. Um, so about a week ago, my younger son was studying in Germany, and they had actually put restrictions in place sooner. And he was going to be stuck there in his small dorm room. So I convinced him that, you know, at least here he has a little more freedom because the space is a little bigger. So he came here. And then we had to make sure that we wouldn't catch anything and give to each other. So I definitely used essential oils to, clear. You can, so with this virus, airborne isn't necessarily the biggest issue, but what we focused on is strengthening our own immune system. So we're talking here about respiratory system. So I really like eucalyptus, and I want to stress this is for adults because some of the essential oils are not great. They're not safe for small children. So using eucalyptus, and putting them on neat can be an issue over time because they can be drying and irritating the skin.
Yeah.
But you don't need, you can just take a spoon of olive oil and put 2 drops in and then rub that over your chest. And if you're familiar with acupuncture points or shiatsu points, so right under the clavicle, if you move towards the shoulder there, if you put 2 fingers, you have this little dip here and you can dig in there and rub the oil over this. This is a lung stimulating point. So you can do that. And then I also inhale the essential oils, but I use it with a bowl of water because you don't need any fancy, it's great to have the diffusers, but if you take a bowl of steaming water, put 1 drop, maybe 2, eucalyptus is strong, I would only put 1, maybe add a lavender with it, then put a towel over your head, close your eyes, and so that steam is also moist.
Yeah.
So it catches things. You might sneeze and your nose might drip, but it really helps to release. So what you really want to prevent is the virus from getting deeper into your respiratory system.
Yeah, that's excellent. And it's good, just another way to feel like you're powerful and that you are in control. If you are taking measures to boost your immune system just by simple things like this, eucalyptus and lavender in a steaming bowl, that tells me that if I were to do that, that would tell me I am doing something. I am doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And giving that semblance of control again. So those are great tips. I love eucalyptus. If people have no essential oils in their house, do you think that imagery would work too? Like if you remember what maybe something minty smells like, or if you remember what lavender smells like, or any other scent, do you think that the imagery of breathing that in would be beneficial?
So you could just use the steam alone because it will still warm up the membranes, right, and moisten them. And if you have tea, you can use mint tea.
Oh,
Because
there you go.
people use herbs, cooking herbs. You can use cooking herbs. If you have marjoram, put
Basil,
a little
maybe?
of that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. We have a lot of different dried spices in our cupboards that we use for cooking, and they definitely, oregano, maybe be careful with oregano, but oregano would work as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the herbs are not quite as strong as the essential oils, so you don't have to be worried about, small children. For smaller children, I would say just make sure the steam is not too hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you think about putting this into the air with pets around? If we're using cooking
Well,
herbs, that would be okay, but
yes, yeah.
essential oils, we would still have to be careful to keep the pets a little bit further away from where you're actually actively doing that. So,
So I would say if you have pets, dogs, cats, if you leave a door open, they will leave
mhm.
because their sense of smell is definitely more developed than ours. They
Yeah.
smell it before we do. Now with birds, I wouldn't, do any diffusing of essential oils in the same room because if they're in a cage, they can't get away and they're very sensitive. So animals do not process essential oils the way we do. I would suggest people who want to use essential oils with animals around first read about that. There are some sound, books, or there are some Facebook book sites that deal with animal aromatherapy because you can hurt your animals. Definitely you can.
Yeah, and you can hurt yourself too. I mean, I found myself, I'll be the first to admit that I go to essential oils sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I think I've been rubbing a little too much On Guard or Thieves on me lately. So toxicity is a real thing, and we don't want our system to be on overload, even using good things right now, while we're trying to boost our system. So be careful when it comes to toxicity, for sure.
Yes, and definitely sensitization can happen. So you might be using something for months and not have a reaction, and suddenly you do.
Mhm.
And once you have a really strong reaction, your body will remember that and you will not be able to use that product. So it's better to not put essential oils neat. It's better to dilute them. Neat is really the exception. especially if you know, expect to use this over several days or weeks. If you do it one time, you know, it's not such a big deal. But it's definitely an issue with, you know, it could irritate the skin.
Yes, definitely. That's all really great tidbits to remember, because we really do want to be just boosting our systems the best way possible now, not creating more overload. So, and definitely not hurting our pets and our children. So, thank you for mentioning all of those safety things when it comes to aromatherapy. I noticed that, you know, some people out there, when I'm monitoring social media and everything, it's desperate times call for desperate measures, and there's folks that were even inadvertently dying because they were taking, you know, large doses of what could be medicines to help
Mm.
prevent COVID or to treat COVID. And it's scary. It's scary when you're ingesting or doing any kind of treatment protocol for your body that isn't tried and true, and we don't know the safety precautions around that. So I'm so grateful that you brought attention to safety there. Thank you, Karen.
Sure.
Yes. Okay, so just a message to the community in general. What would you say to help be supportive and offer a little bit of faith and hope at this time?
So I would say stay connected. Stay connected to like-minded people, people that, you know, not just other massage therapists, just people that, you know, you feel really close to, and they think like you, and they can support you. Maybe come up with regular meetings. I have a friend, we check in once a week. We
Mm.
stay on the phone an hour and a half, but we check in once a week. We say, how was your week? What happened? What's going on with you? And I heard also people doing book clubs online. People have a lot of wine meetings, so maybe alcohol consumption will go up, which is not always good. But you know, just stay connected. We really, because we do need this, you know, this social experience. We are people who are thriving in community.
Absolutely. And now that it's kind of been taken away from us, we realize how important it really is. So I'm going to shout praises again. Thank goodness for technology and being able to keep us connected. Um, Thank you for that. That's important, and that's part of why I put the summit together, and meeting new people, having interviews with folks that I get to connect to or haven't talked to in a long time. And it's kind of just an excuse for me to talk to people, really. I'll admit that. It's helping keep me sane in the midst of all of this, just to be able to have those connections on a helpful and a deeper level. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
And
and I appreciate you doing this because it will be really interesting to get to meet new people, and who knows what connections will come from that.
absolutely, absolutely. So I'm assuming, Karen, by saying that you welcome connections. So if anybody that's watching this wants to connect with you, how can they find you?
Yes, so I am Dancing Turtles Healing Arts. I do have a Facebook page, and you can also email me at dancingturtleshealingarts@gmail.com. And I'm definitely excited, you know, to meet new people, because another thing I would say to do now is make these connections and see what you can form together, because, you know, things are not going to be the same. We might have other ideas, and we might, you know, come up with different trends.
Yeah, I agree. The creativity that could come from this is endless. It's not all doom and gloom. There is bright lights of creativity that are going to spring up everywhere with all of our artistic minds that are at work right now. So great, great. Is there anything else that you want to say before we close, Karen?
No, just I'm really grateful that you're doing this, and I'm really curious who I meet.
Ah, yes, yes, all the new connections that could possibly come. And I am grateful to you as well. Thank you for reaching out to me and for joining me in this summit. I'm so glad to have your wisdom and your experience, and I can't wait to follow you and see what new things you come up with as well with your new laptop. Yay!
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. All right. So thank you. That's all we have for today, friends. Join us again tomorrow for another video with another expert in the field of self-care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now.
Bye bye.